On July 3rd, we lost one of Hollywood's most smoldering stars. Michael Madsen, the magnetic, gravel-voiced actor who brought to life some of cinema's most dangerous characters, was found unresponsive in his Malibu home. He passed away from cardiac arrest at just 67.
Life is short, you know?
In a statement, Michael's managers Ron Smith and Susan Ferris, alongside publicist Liz Rodriguez, shared that he had recently finished working on several upcoming films. His team also added, Michael Madsen was one of Hollywood's most iconic actors, who will be missed by many. And it's hard to disagree. In a career that spanned over 4 decades, he amassed more than 340 acting credits.
I could have been a bricklayer. I could have been an architect. I could have been a garbage man. I could have been nothing. But I got lucky. I got lucky as an actor.
Michael started his journey at Chicago's Steppenwolf Theater, mentored by none other than John Malkovich. From indie cult classics to blockbuster franchises, he brought edge and soul to every role. War Games, The Natural, Thelma and Louise, the list goes on. But it was Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs that changed everything. His portrayal of Mr. Blonde, Vic Vega, was brutal, chilling, and unforgettable. The director later called him the ultimate outlaw presence. Meanwhile, film critic Roger Ebert praised him as a revelation. He emerges with the kind of really menacing screen presence only a few actors achieve. He reminds me a little of a very mean Robert De Niro. That role etched his name into American film history and made audiences both fear and admire him in equal measure. But Michael didn't stop at one unforgettable project. His career was marked by iconic characters in The Doors, Donnie Brasco, Free Willy, Sin City, and even a stint in the James Bond film Die Another Day. And Tarantino cast him again in hits like The Hateful Eight, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and of course the Kill Bill franchise. There he became Bud, an ex-assassin turned broke bouncer, living in a trailer and haunted by past sins. It wasn't just another character, it was a man broken by the life he once led. And Madsen embodied that pain, showing us vulnerability beneath the roughness.
If you had to describe your experience of working on this, Quentin Tarantino said in 3 words, what would it be?
The Big Show. The Big Show.
Ironically, Michael almost played Vincent Vega in Pulp Fiction, a role that went to John Travolta. He dropped out to appear in Wyatt Earp instead, a decision he later said he regretted. But that didn't matter to Tarantino. He remained fiercely loyal to Michael. In fact, the director wrote the foreword to Madsen's upcoming poetry collection, Tears for My Father, saying, "For me, the real journey that Michael the writer is exploring is what it means to be a man in a world where the notions of manhood that some of us grew up with are barely remembered. But then, if everybody embarked on the hero's journey, everybody would be a hero, wouldn't they?" Yes, Michael Madsen was more than a movie star. He was a published poet, a photographer, a storyteller. His voice appeared in Grand Theft Auto 3, Dishonored, and Crime Boss, Rockay City. He kept working tirelessly, sometimes in big-budget films, other times in smaller, forgettable ones. Why? Because, as he said, well, sometimes people forget that sometimes you have to pay the mortgage, sometimes you have to put your kids through school. You can't always pick the greatest script, and you pick a project you probably shouldn't be involved in, and then you have to live with it all your life. Michael grew up in a family of storytellers and public servants. His father, Calvin, was a firefighter. His mother, Elaine, a filmmaker and Emmy winner. Michael was one of 3 siblings. His sister, Virginia Madsen, an Oscar-nominated actress, was his lifelong confidant and supporter. Right after the news of his passing, she shared her grief and love in an Instagram statement. He was thunder and velvet, mischief wrapped in tenderness, a poet disguised as an outlaw, a father, a son, a brother, etched in contradiction, tempered by love that left its mark. Virginia also added, "I'll miss our inside jokes, the sudden laughter, the sound of him. I'll miss the boy he was before the legend. I miss my big brother." The tributes that followed Madsen's death painted a portrait of a man who was far more than the roles he played. They also reflected how much he meant to those who worked alongside him. Actress Vivica A. Fox, who shared screen time with Michael in the Kill Bill films, remembered him as an absolute joy to work with. Michael was a talented man with an amazing on-screen presence. My deepest condolences and prayers to his family. Jennifer Tilly, his co-star in The Getaway, called him one of her favorite actors she ever worked with. He made me feel safe and supported. a huge talent, gone too soon. His The Hateful Eight co-star Walton Goggins paid a moving tribute on Instagram, writing, "Michael Madsen, this man, this artist, this poet, this rascal, f***ing icon. Aura like no one else. Ain't enough words, so I'll just say this. I love you, buddy. A hater forever." Harvey Keitel, Michael's co-star in Reservoir Dogs, called him a great American poet. Actor James Woods, who starred with Madsen in The Getaway and Straight Talk, remembered the man behind the tough guy image. "Oh man, this is a hard one. I was always touched by his sweet nature and generosity, the absolute opposite of the tough guys he portrayed so brilliantly." Billy Baldwin described the actor as nothing short of explosive. Michael Madsen was dynamite, on screen, in life, in every sense. His energy was unforgettable, his friendship invaluable. I'll miss him more than words can say. Rob Schneider, who worked with Madsen on his sitcom Real Rob, echoed the sentiment. A dream to work with. A truly gifted actor and gentleman who made every person on set comfortable. Robert Rodriguez, who directed him in Sin City, remembered how Michael broke all the rules, but always for the better. No one was allowed to improvise dialogue, but Michael kept bringing us golden lines. An absolute joy to work with. You truly are one of the greats. But for Madsen, the work was never just about fame. In fact, he often felt trapped by his own screen persona. "I think I've been more believable than I should have been. I think people really fear me. They see me and go, holy shit, there's that guy." In truth, that guy was a father of 7, a role he cherished above all.
I enjoy being a father. It's one of the better parts of my life. And thank God they're all pretty straight cats. None of them are drinkers or smokers, or they don't do bad things. They're all looking after themselves, and I appreciate that. It's a blessing.
He often spoke about how family grounded him, even in the whirlwind of Hollywood. His son, Christian Madsen, followed in his footsteps, starting acting with his father's quiet encouragement. Michael was married 3 times. His early marriages were to Jorgan Lapierre and Janine Bisignano. In 1996, he tied the knot with actress Deanna Madsen, and the two spent almost 3 decades together. Their long-standing union faced challenges, and last year Michael filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Despite the separation, Deanna remained a significant part of his life and legacy. Tragically, one of their sons, Hudson, took his own life in 2022, a heartbreak that deeply affected him.
You lose a son, you lose a kid, it's the worst thing I could imagine that could happen to anybody. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. It was terrible. I know it's something I'll be with for the rest of my life, but...
And yet Michael kept going, creating, reflecting. Despite his tough guy screen image, Michael preferred being in his pajamas with his kids more than being in the spotlight. He wasn't a perfect man, but he was real, wild and thoughtful, troubled and brilliant. He didn't just act, he poured his heart into every performance. He showed us that even the most dangerous men can have poetry in their soul.
I feel, lucky that I got those kind of chances, those opportunities to work on those kind of films.
And the world was lucky to know his voice, his stories, and his fire. Rest in peace, Michael. You were thunder and velvet. And now, somewhere out there, we imagine you're still dancing to Stuck in the Middle with you.